Hello everyone. Haven't really blogged at all or put any videos on recently because, well, Tropical Storm Erica hit us pretty hard. So I wanted to give an update about what happened, how it's very different here than what the media has been portraying about Dominica as a whole. And I also wanted to address, sorry in advance for me wanting to vent a little bit about some of the things that have gone on for the school. But there was a lot of problems that went on with the school, basically on how they handled their response to the storm. So first off, let me start by saying we are fine. I'm fine. My wife is fine. Every student who is in this area, and even some of those who are down in Rousseau, are accounted for. Everyone who is on this island is fine. Sure, there's some emotional damage from the stress of things, but physically, we are all fine. We are virtually unscathed from this storm. Pretty much the storm hit Wednesday evening. It started coming in, and Thursday throughout the day was a storm. So many of you have seen probably my picture on Instagram of Dominica being in the eye of the storm. That was early, about I think 8 o'clock sometime Thursday morning. So at that point we were in the storm. About a minute after that we lost all communication, so there was no cell phone coverage anymore and there was no internet coverage whatsoever. That was due to the heavy rains causing flooding farther south of us that took out at least 2 bridges. Along with those bridges, they took out some of the infrastructure for both the cell coverage and the internet. So since that day, about 2 days ago, we got internet back, but between then and there, we had no way of communicating with the outside world. So because those bridges were out, there were bridges out on both sides of the island, there was no way to feasibly get to Rousseau except by boat. Which again isn't advised when you're in a tropical storm environment. With waves, things like that, there was a boat that sank, but no one was hurt. So anyway, since then the communication infrastructure was out. Now I'm sure the media has been portraying that Dominica was the worst hit it's been for a long time, and that is true. It was hit very hard, but where we are, we're not. The most damage that's really occurred is, I know there's a student's house who flooded. They lost virtually all of their belongings, which is extremely sad. There's been a lot of donation support for these students for things like clothes and food and other supplies, which were quickly set up by members of our student government. Worked to set those donations up, not only for those students, but for other people in the community that needed it. So the media, what they're mainly showing is what's happening on the far kind of more southeastern side of the island is where Dominica got hit the worst. Down there right now, what we've been told by the school is that at least 20 people are confirmed dead and another 20 some are missing. Now we're assuming these numbers are higher now that there've been more time, but again, we have no confirmed numbers. So that does put things in perspective. I know there's been a lot of things that have been going on our side of the island, but thank goodness at least we are all safe, we are all accounted for. Now on to my third and major topic of this video. I want to start off by saying Ross is a good school. If you're looking at coming here, or if you're a student here right now, Ross is a good school, period. However, there was a lot of administrative and logistical problems that occurred around this storm. Now we're in a Caribbean island. This is a Caribbean med school. There's hurricanes, there's tropical storms. They happen every year. We're all aware of this. However, the school didn't seem to have a plan, or if they had a plan, it wasn't executed. First off, the day of the storm, right before internet got kicked out early in the morning, we got an email saying the school was closed. So basically saying there's no activities on campus, don't come to campus if you don't have to. Basically stay at home, you're safest in your homes. Now, for 99% of us, that is true. Our homes down here, everything's built out of cement, they're usually pretty high, we're safe. My neighbor's house started to flood a little bit from the heavy rains, nothing I couldn't stop with a towel dammed against the door and swept the excess water out and mopped it up. It was fine. So, but there was students' houses that did completely flood, so as far as the safety of it, they would have been safer at campus, but the school couldn't have known that. However, the school wasn't closed in the sense of we're not having activities, don't come here if you can't. The school was closed to the point that they were turning students away from getting fresh water. So the day of the storm, when it really hit, we lost all the water because of the Dowasco water supply, which is kind of higher up into the mountain a little ways, where all of our fresh water comes from. The pipes were completely washed away. They were destroyed. There's a lot of mudsliding that was going on. Luckily, none of us were really affected here directly. A lot of just dirt and rocks flying around, but nothing that can't be cleaned up over time. So the water went out that day. Luckily, we had some backup here. We had some backup at the neighbor's house that I'm helping watch. And so we were okay, but there were a lot of students. One of my friends from Minnesota who got down here, he arrived the night before the storm really hit. He was actually excited to see the storm because he likes those things. But he had no fresh water in his apartment. He still hadn't been able to get any Dominican, what's called the East Caribbean dollar money yet because banks were closed. And since the internet went out, there's no ATMs, there's no banks, there's nothing. So he had some empty jugs for water. He brought them to the school. After the rain was starting to die down, the school literally turned him away and said, "You are not allowed to come on campus. The school is closed." Now, there had been someone there to tell him the school was closed. There was some security individuals who were already at the school. There was a security individual at the school, one of the heads, who made the decision to close the school. We were told eventually that the school was closed that day because the Dominican government advised Ross to close its campus. Now I completely understand not wanting to have activities and bring people who maybe couldn't make it to the school because of the bridge outages or just because of the sheer amount of rain to come to the school. That's completely understandable. But there are people staffing the student center, which the student center is a Category 5 hurricane shelter. How are we supposed to use that hurricane shelter if we're told to go home without water, without communications to anywhere, and that it doesn't make any sense at all? So that to me is one of the most appalling things that have ever happened in my education career. We're here to be doctors. We've taken an oath to say do no harm. Is turning people away from getting fresh water when they need it the most doing no harm? Or is that actively seeking out harm? It's promoting harm to those individuals. My friend from Minnesota was luckily able enough to find a vendor who was still open, able to use a combination of both whatever money he had left from Barbados and US currency to get some fresh water that day. Luckily, the next day the school was open. The school has many, many thousand-gallon tank of water. It can last for about 3 weeks steady with moderate use for all students on campus. So since there was a very reduced amount of us here, a lot of students were home on break, it was fine. However, it's still an extreme wrong. We shouldn't be refusing fresh water to anyone, no matter what, no matter the conditions. If it is feasible to do in any shape, manner, or form, it should be done. The other huge problem was communications down here. Once our internet went out, there was really no way for us to communicate, even with Rousseau. We couldn't get to Rousseau by car. There were students who were stuck a little farther north of Rousseau. They had gone there over break to relax, go to a nicer place on the island. So we had no idea if they were okay. No one had known if they were accounted for until several days after the major storm. So we were told the first day after the storm, there was a town hall meeting. They had a town crier go around and tell everyone, meet here at this time. We're going to have a meeting to figure out what we're going to do from here. All students, we all brought our IDs, we all scanned in, and we're told that once we scanned in, the next day, they were going to get contact via satellite phone to either Miramar, which is the base in Florida, or the New Jersey home office. And then from there, they would contact all of our emergency contacts, so family, things like that. When I was able to contact my parents 2 days ago, when the internet finally came back, they had never been contacted. Not once. There were phone calls on our phone at home that just said a number from Florida. My mother finally called it back, thinking that it might be something related to Ross. and was put on hold for hours. She finally got a hold of a person who would not confirm my actual safety. They only confirmed that my ID had been scanned. They had no information about my wife, never gave any of her family confirmation she was safe, even though I explicitly asked the people who were scanning our IDs if our spouses needed to scan. And they said, oh no, if you're here, then we'll tell their family that they're also here because you've accounted for them. Wasn't the case either. Not only was that phone call that my family received just one random phone call, they left zero message and did not reattempt to make another contact until about less than a day before I was able to make contact. So during this period of time, my family is seeing the images put on the media of all these people dead, all this damage, assuming I'm probably in the same boat. They never told them that Ross University is okay. No one ever told them that. My family was extremely upset when I was finally able to call them, and extremely relieved to know that me and my wife were safe. We were able to contact our families and put them a little bit more at ease. What bothers me the most with the situation is not only were we told that how the communications were going to be done, we were told that our families had received the messages and we would be receiving messages back from them. This was not only the case, this was a blatant lie. Our families were not contacted. We were confirmed for several days that our families, oh, don't worry, your families have been contacted, it's fine, they know you're safe. They didn't. When I finally was able to get Facebook back, I looked around. There were people who were posting on pictures that students had put on before the storm. I'm so-and-so's mother. Do you know that they're safe? I'm so-and-so's sister. Do you know they're safe? My sister-in-law was looking around trying to figure out if my wife was okay. No one knew. She was having to post on Ross's Facebook page, Ross's Twitter feed. No one would confirm it. They would just say, oh, we're working on it. We're working on it. I was told during orientation, first time I got here, that this school has our back. No matter what happens, Ross is here for us. Not only did they turn students away when they needed water, they lied to us. And I don't care how they want to administratively go about saying, oh, we had a process in place, we had a priority system of who was called first. No. In a case like this, you scan our IDs, you send information to someone else, you send a message to everyone. They said they have people working 24 hours a day on this. I'm sorry, it doesn't take that long to make one phone call and leave a message. Your student is checked in, we have spoken with them, they are safe. They have water and shelter. That's all we needed to know. That's all we wanted our families to know. We're safe. Don't worry. And we were told this had been accomplished, but it hadn't. So I don't understand at all how an infrastructure such as Ross dropped the ball so much in this situation. We live in the Caribbean. There's tropical storms and hurricanes every year. They weren't planned. When we asked in all of our meetings, what's your plan? What if there's another storm during this season? What's your plan? The only response we ever got, there is a plan in place. Well, to the best of my knowledge, the plan that was in place was, it's stormy out, I'm going to lock the doors. There was literally chains on the gates to prevent students from entering from any entrance into the school. And the one spot that students could still enter, a guard turned them away. What's the point of having a hurricane shelter if you can't use it? Eventually, we were able to get communication back to our families. My family was very upset, but very thankful that we were okay, that my wife was okay. But for me personally, we're held at such a high professional standard at this school. What's the point of it if the school itself won't hold that professional standard? Who outright lies to its students? So yes, there was a lot of problems that went on with the school. I'm frustrated, along with hundreds of other students who are either stuck here on island or were stuck on other islands before they could get back here. They're boating people in now from neighboring islands, so the semester is supposed to start on time for us. We'll see if that happens to be the case. I don't feel that every student's going to get here in time, but I hope and pray they do. At least we can put in perspective, no one lost their lives here. It is a sad time for the island, and with the number of people that have lost their lives in this island, and it does put things in perspective. Yes, there was inadequacies, but we are safe, and we're thankful for that, very thankful. And I want anyone watching this, if you're looking at coming to Ross, or maybe you're a first semester student down here who happens to see this, please don't let these bad choices on behalf of the school turn you away from Ross. My time here has been a good time. I have enjoyed Ross. The education has been good. It is a good setup down here. I just really want this message shared that there needs to be a reform. There needs to be a plan in place. There needs to be a plan that allows for the safety of our students during the storm. I don't care how bad it is outside. We need to be able to get somewhere that is a guaranteed safe place with water and a strong shelter. We didn't have that during this storm. The students whose apartment flooded, when I spoke with them, they were literally outside for around an hour before they were to find someone who had a place to let them in and stay. Because when they came to the school, they were turned away. So please don't let this put a dark cloud over this school. This is a good school, as I've said multiple times, because I do like it here. But please, share this video. Let people know that there does need to be reform in the administration. There needs to be a direct plan put in place. As soon as this starts to happen, A, B, C, and D happen. We put the school on skeleton staffing. You allow students to get water. You allow students to stay in the student center if they do not have a place to stay, or they don't have power, or they don't have water, whatever. It's called the student center. It's for students. School is for the students. I understand. Don't put anyone's life in danger to get to the school to staff it. We're all adults. We can live in an environment without full staffing to make sure that we're being well behaved. We are adults in here. We are professional medical students. Finally, I just want to say thank you for all the people back home who gave a lot of support, a lot of prayers for this island, for all of us down here. Please, if somebody you know doesn't know that we're safe, let them know. We are safe. Your loved ones are safe. Everybody's fine down here. Students are arriving right now, every day. The school is starting to pick itself back up. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Feel free to share this video, to follow my blog, whatever you want to do. Again, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.